Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to attend the 2025 Iscarsah AGM. I'm very pleased to be able to join you. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land I am joining you today and pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. I have been communicating with Paolo and following up Iscarsah activities, in particular on the guidelines for the analysis, conservation, and structural restoration of architectural heritage, and the proposed name change. During the analysis of the ISC's 2024 annual reports, it was apparent that Iscarsah has been very active. I would like to congratulate you on your activities and on the update of the guidelines. I wish you a successful AGM and look forward to hearing the presentations noted on the agenda. You have a very busy agenda, and hopefully seeing some of you in Lumbini. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you so much. And we will hopefully meet live in Nepal.
Hopefully, I think the situation is settled, but still we are following and monitoring just in case. So next week there will be obvious instructions whether we're going ahead or not. But all looks okay for now. Thanks again.
Okay, we're going now for membership, and I give the word to Tom, so he'll follow up.
Actually, and membership we hand to Paolo, or not to Paolo, to Mirdad right away, and it's not giving us our audio. This is one of the reasons we've been a bit cautious on how to get these to work. So perhaps I will speak through his slides quickly. So yeah, except of course I took them out of the PowerPoint, so we didn't have a bunch of blank slides. So this is lots of each year I've learned something new on IT things that can go wrong. It's great. So Mirdad's been leading the bringing new membership, working through that process. Just a reminder, we've got 3 main categories of membership. There's the expert members, the associate members, and the non-ICOMOS members. We're continually looking at these items as we evolve and try to say, like, how does it best match our needs? That's the current layout we're working with. The membership application process. First part of the process is that internally that Iscarsah receives the application form. There's a good flow chart that Mirdad here has in a moment here that shows the step that you first request from Iscarsah, the updated application. We're trying to make sure we're consistent using the same application form. Please request from us the application. We will give you the application back. And I just realized that people online can't see this and that I can only see it on one screen. There we go. That people will ask us for the application. We send it to them, iscarsah@gmail.com. Fill out the application, the CV, the references, and then it gets reviewed by the Bureau. That has been organizing all of this so we can review it quickly. The membership applications, personal information, status of ICOMOS membership. Again, we should all be registered in ICOMOS. There are some special cases. We will work with you on special cases, but you should be registered nationally. There's a summary of your interest, why you want to be involved, what's your background for it, and then kind of we set it up to go from there. Here's the flow chart that I think actually shows up better for people that are not. There we go. So flow chart, if you're looking to become a member, you're starting. Are you a ICOMOS member? No, well, you should apply either for non-ICOMOS if you have to. Generally, you try to become a ICOMOS member. Yes. Are you applying for an associate member or an expert member? Kind of this idea of how much experience do you have, how much is focused, where would you apply? You're submitting it to Iscarsah. We review it, we go from there. I feel bad because I am not Mirdad, but I will do what I can. Now, the impressive part is We have in the last year 33 new members. So congratulations to everyone here in this room that's one of the 33 new members. How many people are currently here that are new members? Raise your hand. Maybe stand up so others can see you, so you're aware of how many members we have here. So just as a reminder, we're a committee, so we're hopefully here to support each other. No. For all the old people like me that don't get up very quick, I mean, anyone that's new, come and bug me during the conference or elsewise. And I think the rest of us are here as well. There are opportunities to get involved and help out. There's definitely always this question of where are their key parts, and those opportunities there. In the last year, we have 14 new expert members, 13 new associates, and 6 new non-ECOMOs, but really we're a group of professionals that are aiming to grow, so we're all in that together.
How many members do we have?
How many?
Well, it depends if we're talking about before or after I finish working through membership. Those could be very different numbers, and that will come up in my slide, kind of. And I think that is, let me see a few other key things. Oh, we should have the names. Distribution, we've got a strong showing of new Italian members, which we're excited about. There was not as much for a little while. A lot of new members from Poland, which is one of the first countries I visited internationally, so I always get a kick out of, as well as a fairly broad distribution from around the world. So we continue to be fortunate in our ability to dialogue internationally and get insights from so many points of view.
Sorry, these are the members in 1 year.
These are the members in 1 year. These are the members we recognize in the last year. So the amount of work, and I've mentioned Mirdad a few times that he has managed, also Stephen Kelly. They have been the forefront of trying to manage that system, and it's wonderful to have interest. And they're the volunteers that are running under the radar, doing so much work behind the scenes. And here are our names, which are a bit too small, and I won't put you through me trying to mispronounce them all. But we are very happy to have everyone, and welcome for that. Mirdad is online. I'm not sure if there are any questions on current memberships. We're trying to avoid online presentations because of IT problems. But any other questions on the memberships? That was pretty exciting stuff. Okay, thanks. Excuse the low tech approach. And there is again the slide, just a reminder, please, if you know anyone interested, we love having new interested people. We want to make sure they have the new application forms. We do continually evolve as we learn how we want to do it. Contact us. You know, say, great, here's the newest form. And it makes our life easier, and hopefully makes any future applicants' life easier too. Oh, and Mirdad mentions in chat that he does really want to stress how much Steve has helped working through memberships. Operations, oh great, I get to keep talking. This will be fun to make minutes work. 3 items on operations. 1, membership review. So I'm working through a review of all members. It is just shy of 200. Actually, we've now pushed beyond 200. I have to double check that. And to every 3 years, we're to kind of go through to see how people are doing, if people are still finding matches up with their goals, that sort of thing. I was a bit behind doing it, but we are into it. I have been glad to sort out a few incorrect bits of information in my records. Hopefully people are getting messages. That also connects in with, I'm going to bridge from that just to the listservs. People may have got the emails that we closed down one of the listservs because of their policy changes. I still have this lingering nightmare in the middle of the night that I wake up screaming that someone's not getting emails from me. My wife is a majorly patient, so we're fortunate there. But if you are not getting emails from me, please let me know. If you're not receiving listserv messages, please let me know. You should have had at least one in the last week.
How will we know if we receive it or not?
If you have not received a message in the last week, then you should talk to me. That would be the starting point I have. So we've think we've gotten some of the issues dealt with, but I would be surprised if they're not still lingering items. The operations, we're also working on greater alignment with the ICOMOS databases. ICOMOS has been working to have a better system across all the different international scientific committees and I believe national committees. That's on one of my task lists and is in progress. And then the communications as well as the issues with the listservs, we have continued to make changes. And this fits into Radu's purview more, but I will speak to it quickly. And I know he's here. There he is, Radu in the back. The website has the new members area that's about to launch. It's fairly straightforward. You'll register, you'll be given access into the back. You'll be able to fill in your profile. And we're still looking at how we want to build that to meet your needs, to kind of help this community. And the great news is that the Radu's bringing this in just as the Gaggle system started to work not quite so smoothly. So it really is helping with the gap there. Yeah, so it'll let you register and complete your personal information. It'll become part of the shared database, visible to all of us internally. It will help with our internal communication. And we are hoping to activate it very soon. I think we're just in final little testings and hopefully in the coming weeks. I think we're almost aiming to send out and say, hey, come start clicking these links. I'm hoping you have a lot more fun clicking links than I do, but we've gotten some screens to click. I think that covers our members and we're on to overall activities.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I would like to have a short overview of what was the last year. For the ones of you which are more recent members and don't know the full committee, the committee members are here, so they have different responsibilities, and there's a geographic gender diversity, which I think is quite important. We are also finishing this term. It has been, I think, a very exciting term with a lot of activities, so I'd like to thank all committee members. Our total number of members is over 200, a little bit higher. We just, in addition to the 33, we just accepted 8 new members this week, or last week. Obviously, these 200 members are not active. I would say we are about 100 active members. We hope during this year to organize a little bit the membership and see whether you would like to be a member or not. It's very good to have new members, particularly also members which are, it's important to have senior and experienced people. It's also important to have the new generation. And we have many members still in experienced but moderate let's say, length of career, which I think is very important for the community. This is a vision of some of the countries with the largest membership. So this is not a competition. Again, the important thing is to have people interested, but it's good to recognize our committee. In any case, I think that the important things are the activities we do, And so for the AGM of this year, which will be basically today. The technical tour in the morning, I think it was very impressive, particularly the full vision of the project, 8 billion euro, and planning 30 years, or at least at the moment 12, but planning ahead. So it was really an impressive site. very important also for the quality of life. So without transportation today and communication, our societies do not work. We have a very large assembly, higher than normal. Thank you for coming. I would like also to thank, of course, Savas. He was a student of our program a long time ago. I brought him, he loves heritage. So I brought him a little bit of our heritage from University of Minya. And I thank you for the great organization you are doing also. Pleasure to have you here. I mean, we try to be relatively active in social media. The number of friends and people subscribing is going up. We have been quite active in terms of webinars, and the number of views in YouTube tripled, which is amazing for 1 year because, I mean, okay, 3,000 views is not exceptional, but moving from 1 to 3, this is exceptional. And so, I mean, it's again, it's not the numbers, it's the impact we may have in the community and people wanting to share information and possibly learn and, let's say, be all within the same methodology and agreement. And again, I think the people that have been mostly handling this, the social media part, Radu, Savas, Yohei, which I don't see, but should be here. Ah, you are hidden there. Thank you. And Steve also, which is in the Zoom. Regarding the Iscarsah guidelines, we posted the final approved version in the website. It was approved in our committee. I thank Karim for accepting to take this for discussion as it was our proposal. We started a bit late because we should have started 10 years ago. And so we're starting from the end. But if in the end, a revised version, which will be 3.0, is approved by ICOMOS as a doctrinal text, the impact will be much higher. And I think it deserves the effort because it's such a large effort we're making. It will take time, so it will not be immediate, but I think we are preservant. If we're not preservant, we cannot work in cultural heritage. And so I'll present it in Lumbini, and I am hoping that we'll have strong support for the document to be official as guidelines from ICOMOS, not from the committee. We'll see. I was planning that maybe you make questions in the end of the activities before the strategic plan. If that's okay, we can then take any questions. You know that we have this bulletin twice a year, okay? I hope you like to receive the bulletin. The last one, the editorial, was quite controversial. So I was hoping people to fight me, but I was, somehow, I don't know if people didn't read it or if people didn't want to make any comment about it. But I think the good thing of this committee is to discuss. Otherwise, it makes little sense to be together. In any case, in the last bulletin, we also had 2 non-Iscarsah members submitting small contributions. And so think about it. Sava's already committed to the next one, but think about it, providing on your free basis, just a small text on anything you did professionally, anything you saw, anything you think it makes sense to discuss. Don't be afraid, we'll be very happy to have a short note. I mean, a short note is 1 or 2 pages. We don't want scientific journals with 50 pages or 30 pages. No, it's just a short note. It can be very professional oriented, can be a topic of hot discussion, something of relevance for you and for us. And I thank Malcolm. I don't know if she's there, but she's probably in the Zoom. We also invested a lot in webinars. Again, you'll go back to this. We'll show it. We organized one together with APT, so the Association for Preservation Technology, US and Canadian based mostly. It was very nice. I can tell you that APT was very surprised by the number of participants because it's much higher than they normally have. And this is positive. And again, we only benefit from linking with other communities. can be RILAM, it can be APT, it can be, you know, Major International, it can be whatever relevant community in the field. So if you think there's a good topic, again, this will be addressed. Don't feel afraid to communicate. So there's Evan Spear here, there's Nicoletta here or Nikki that you can communicate with her. I'm sure you'll have time to interact. And team is, I suppose, also online. But these people have been running the webinars. It's a very important way of outreach. Okay. The final thing are the working groups, and the working groups was a decision by, let's say, by this bureau, and I think it's something very important to continue. The idea of a working group is not to be permanent. Anything which is permanent fades away in our understanding. So the idea is that we renew working groups. And so for a new term, we hope a couple of new working groups can be added, and maybe some of them can vanish. That's the idea. Some of them need some more time to produce documents. The idea of the working groups is to people together in topics of their interest. We have about 50% of our committee members involved. If you take 50% is about 100, this means we have all our active members involved, almost. So even the people that join in, you'll have the presentations today. If you think something is exciting, you can still join in, and you can send an email to the coordinator and see if you can participate in the next meeting. Okay? This is not closed, and in my view, and I think in the Bureau view, of course, the committee willing and all of us willing, we should have new groups for the next round, maybe one or two. I have a couple of ideas. Maybe you have a couple of ideas. Don't be afraid to stand up and come to us and say, maybe we should have a working group in whatever. And then we'll see if there is interest and if this makes sense. But it's very important. I don't think it's operational to work with 100 or 150 people. It is okay to work with 20 people or 25. That is okay. And I thank a lot the coordinators. I think 2 are here, 2 are not here, but they are on Zoom, and 1 will be replaced. Huh? In any case, last point on the activities. I told you that we have a contact in the advisory committee. That's very important because we have to be followed. The advisory committee should also contribute to helping us, to guiding us, and we should contribute to the other committees. This is, you know, a process that everybody has to gain. We also have very productive meetings with national committees in Turkey and India. We had several meetings. This is something that we understand is a bottom-up approach. It's also very important to our younger members. We need younger members active. It can be in the work groups, it can be webinars, it can be in sending articles, it can be anything you think is relevant and tell us that, look, this is a good idea, let's do it. It also could be in national scientific committees. The national scientific committees, we don't understand as the Bureau that we want to impose. It has to be bottom up. There must be sufficient number of people in the country who want to lead it. And these national groups will have many members which are not in the international committee. This is fine. They work in their languages. They work together. They address other topics. We can benefit. We can share experiences. So we don't want to have a lot of national scientific committees, particularly if they are not working, if they are just there. If they are working, it's excellent. So you'll see 2 presentations today trying to inspire all of us that we can organize ourselves differently to reach a higher audience, to promote further discussions, further knowledge. We endorsed 2 conferences in the last year. One was held, I think, 2 weeks ago or something in Croatia. The other one is this one, which I didn't put. And so if there are events that you think it's relevant for Iscarsah to get involved, that members of Iscarsah are actively involved, we are very happy to endorse, okay? And this is also a way to have some exposure to us. Now, we made a decision this year, which was a Bureau decision. The next Bureau can decide otherwise. Huh? which was to create awards. We think it's very important, okay? And today we're going to issue 2 awards. We created what we decided to name as Founders Award. Beautiful designs for the fantastic engineer designer next to my left, okay, or to your right. And I mean, the Founders Award is for senior people, for experienced people. They will, in our view, of course, each bureau will follow this the way they believe to be convenient. In our view, they do not have to given in a year. The Founders Award must be given if there is a concrete deliverable, if there is, you know, a state-of-the-art document, if there is an article. I know, for example, one of the committees has an article in review, but it has to be a concrete outcome. Okay, we will not give this award if there is not a physical and evident outcome. Okay, it is to recognize senior people that made an important contribution with a concrete deliverable. Okay. The other award that we think is very important, we are happy to see in the recent meetings that younger people are joining the committee. We're also happy with senior people. I unfortunately belong to the second side. I would rather belong to the first one, but time resolves these problems. And we say now the new day for conservation award. So we want, you know, someone to enlighten us, to provide something. It's an emerging professional. It has to be young. He made an important contribution to the work of the International Scientific Committee. It doesn't have to be a concrete deliverable. It has to be an important contribution. So for the youngsters, if you'd like to get this award, it's time to work now. That's the only way you can get it. Okay. Now, we started a possible name change procedure. I'll go into this into detail in the next slides. Okay. Again, it's the decision of this assembly. Okay. But we have a long process. We run first an internal process at the bureau with many proposals, lots of discussions. We select a few names, we put it to members' inquiry. The response was positive in terms of many people responding. We had 90 respondents, and it was very consensual on the name change. It was less consensual on the acronym, so I'll put it to a vote, and then we decide. Whatever decision we make is a good decision. It's always us to decide. Now, anybody wants to ask something or make any comments in the 3 beautiful slides about activities? Yes.
So, is it any rule for national committee?
There is an inspiring document in the web page. You can download it. A critical issue is critical mass. If you have 2 or 3 people in the national committee, you know, we will not be involved. National committees can be 2 ways. In some countries, for example, Turkey, Brazil, other countries, national ICOMOS promotes a mirror committee nationally, which we don't have to be involved. For example, in India also, if the committees would like to be involved with us, we think it's positive. There's a win-win situation. If they want to run everything locally without counting us, it's fine. If they want to work together with us, to meet us, to have our logo or our recognition, we need to somehow accept the way they operate. And so an important issue is to be big. And we say something like 10 members or something to start. If you have 2 or 3, the committee will die. But there is a document that it was presented here, I think, either last year or the year before. I'll have to check. And it is in our website. You can download it. It's a public document. What we think should be a national committee.
Okay, when we have the group of people, is it any criteria for people that can be a member of the national committee? And who will evaluate that people if we can create the national committee or not?
Again, if the national committee is linked to your national e-commerce committee, is independent from us. We have no opinion. The only thing you can come is come to us and say, we'd like to work together with you. that's fine. If you start as members here, you decide, that's a good idea, let's try to have a national committee. Then look at the rules, you choose the people, you work in your languages, you give us a list of names, you tell us what are your plans, and then we will contribute. I met, for example, Vlad for a possible national committee in Norway, a possible. We're open to that, it's a decision.
But we can incorporate him to Polish.
50%, maybe. More questions? On the first 3 slides on activities? No? Okay. Now, what are the planned additional activities? For the year to come, we plan to revise the bylaws. So I think with this 2 years experience, there are some things in the bylaws that need to change. It's not a revolution, it's a small evolution, okay? Maybe the size of the bureau can be also more flexible than it is now. We still have corresponding members making no sense because with Zoom today, corresponding member makes no sense. We also believe that as many people are joining, would like to revise the expert member requirements in the sense that for the current bureau, and we hope that you accept because this will come here for discussion. We cannot revise this without approval here, obviously, but we think engagement is very important. And so we think unless someone is quite senior, they would start as associate member because then they have to be evaluated after 3 years. And then in these 3 years, the key word will be engagement. We don't want members to have this label, one line in the resume. That is not beneficial for the committee. I don't think it's beneficial for the members. It's beneficial if we contribute to disseminate knowledge, a progress in knowledge, reflection on methodology changes, etc. Okay, so this is something that we'd like to do in the next year. The protected area you saw, the review of status you saw. There is a publication which is supposed to come in the next couple of months because there was a mission in 2018. We have been working on this for 1 year, mostly Mernad and Maya. So hopefully it will be out. We'll also have the election of the new bureau because we are now entering the last year of the bureau. So the bureau is relatively young. Hopefully many people can renew. I mean, it's something for all of us to think about. Also, we'll have to think about the AGM, where to do it next year. And of course, the years after. There is possibly already one possibility for 2027. I was thinking that it could be beneficial to try to have more members of ICOMOS joining the triennial General Assembly that ICOMOS organized. I made some contacts in Malaysia, it will be in Malaysia, and I have good contacts to help us there if we decided to go there. I'm always a little bit afraid in certain locations because we have few people participating in the Nepal Assembly. We have maybe 5 members of the committee. And so, I mean, it makes little sense to do a lot of investment organizing something if there is no one joining in. Because then it's better to do it all in Zoom and then everybody can join in. And so, I mean, we are considering Malaysia, actually it's Borneo, so it's not the continental Malaysia, it's a possibility. There could be other possibilities that we are reflecting in the Bureau. I mean, if any of you has a good idea, would like to come and tell us, fine. If you don't have ideas, it's also fine, but it's something that we'll consider. So hopefully around this time next year, there will be an annual general meeting, which is physical, which is combined. I agree. But so this is mostly the additional activities planned for the next year. So I don't know if anybody would like to comment or ask on this. No? Then we go to the big something. To the committee. Yeah.
Something. Where is this publication about Iran? Because
It's not issued. I hope to come next year.
I know because I have still one morning that I forgot to send. That is
To my
quite.
understanding, Merdad sent everything or almost everything to Maya last week.
No, so
So
now I
now you are
know
in the
when I
blacklist.
will be back. Yes, I'm in blacklist. Never mind, I had such a lot said, but okay. I think I have time. I will contact
I mean, we
Maya.
talked about it in the last meeting of the bureau, and I understood that it was more or less finished.
Okay,
At a certain point, we'll have to finish what we have,
yes, okay, I will contact Maya.
because otherwise everything will get very outdated.
Yes, I do.
Okay, what about the committee name? I will explain you a little bit about the process, then I'm very happy whatever decision we make, yeah? We think our name is too long. If you went to the ICOMOS website, ours stands out because of the size. Some of the committee names are very small. And so if we change as we propose, we'll only appear as heritage structures, nothing else, okay? It's too long. We think it reduces a bit the focus, it's a bit confusing. And the feedback, I mean, before doing anything, and we start discussing, I sent an email to the presidents of ICOMOS and to the president of advisory committee and say, okay, does this make sense? Is it easy to change the name? Because if the answer was don't think about it, we would not think about it. The answer was yes, we are very glad if we have shorter names and we have no problem in accommodating. Okay, so this was step number one. Then we started a discussion. The change of name was unanimous in the committee, in the bureau, okay? To keep the acronym, we could also change, was unanimous, which is a bit strange, but we think we have it to our founders. And so we suggest to keep the acronym, okay, in the future. If a different bureau would like to change, is their call. Huh? Then we had this long discussion with something which is very simple. Should it be capitalized or non-capitalized? Okay. Then there was less consensus. And there's good things and bad things. I will show you in the next slide. And then we considered two names that received among the bureau. We considered 10 names or something. And we ran a voting between all of us in the bureau. And there were two of them that got the same scoring. And two of them we sent to you. And so we ran it. There was an inquiry. There was 90 people voting. There's a huge percentage in changing the name. There's a huge percentage in keeping the acronym. For me, this is a solid decision. So people would like to change. Again, we can decide differently. This here will make the decision, not me, all of us. 2/3 were in favor of changing to heritage structures. So for me, it's very consensual. And 54 using the non-capitalized version. This is not consensual. 54 I don't like because any number close to 50 means if we repeat in 1 or 2 years, it may be different. Taking this into consideration, we would like to put this into a vote. The first thing I'm going to show you what we're going to put into a vote. This is a proposal for ratification, okay? Again, we can decide what we want, okay? Take into consideration the process, and the solid majority would like to propose that we use the new name only as heritage structures. We think it considers everything. And it was a solid majority of votes, 2/3, 80% in favor. Regarding the acronym, there are pros to change. You know, if you write all capitals, it looks you are yelling, okay? It looks a bit severe. It's more difficult to read in a way because it attracts, if you put it inside text, it attracts a lot of attention. Huh? Some people say it is overemphasized. Our logo, which also would not like to change, does not capitalize. Iscarsah for the moment is capitalized. But our logo is not, and we are using it for several years. Our logo is non-capitalized. ICOMOS is capitalized, but some committees is not. So for me, I would put this really up to a vote and people to decide here, and then we'll take the decision of the majority. And I would like, I mean, I would be happy to consider, people advocating on one side or the other. This one would be more to a ratification. Of course, some of you may say, this is a stupid decision, please do not do it. Or I would like the name to be totally different. I mean, we are open. The Bureau will put it to a vote if everybody agrees. And then we'll have a decision, which is yes or no. And so I call for, you know, if anybody would like to make a comment before the vote on the name change.
May I say something? I'm sorry. Why our name is so long in the list is that we include International Scientific Committee, ISC first. The other committees don't have that.
No, they have, but they do not show up in ICOMOS. Many of them have, but ICOMOS in the list, which is now small boxes, they removed ISC in all of them, including, for example, we have the ISC on 20th century heritage. They removed the ISC.
Yeah, and ICOR, they don't have also, but we.
No, what I mean is,
Mhm.
the ISC on 20th century heritage as ISC. Most of the committees have ISC.
Mhm.
They are not in the webpage of ICOMOS. This is factual. And so what I'm saying is that most committees do have ISC in the name.
Mhm.
You can check it.
And in their acronym.
And our, that rest is very big.
Mhm.
Conservation, analysis, and restoration of structures of the architectural heritage. Okay. For me, this is factual. ISC is present in most committees, not in all, but in most.
Yeah, but we show it, the others don't show. That's why we are.
No,
lower.
ICOMOS removed, also from us. If you
No,
go
no.
to the if you go to the ICOMOS website, the new one,
Mhm.
the ISC is gone in all of that. Then it is in the name, but they put the box without the ISC because this is a list of ISCs.
It's fine, again.
We have some feedback too from the online, the virtual audience, just the heritage is seen as more accurate. Accurate.
Yeah, but I mean, let's take first the people here, then we can take fewer online, but
Okay,
please.
so listen up.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm finished.
Can we go back to the first slide on this topic, please?
Oh, sorry, I know. You're moving everything.
Could you kindly explain to us why the Bureau recognizes that the name is reducing core focus, confusing, etc.? Because you mentioned this as a statement, but I would like to.
I mean, we are normally recognized within ICOMOS as a structures committee. That's what
Yes.
people refer to. And our name, in our view, is too long. It's our understanding. We're not saying we're right, huh? It's the understanding of the Bureau.
But
Perhaps I can give an example. Looking at outreach and future development for it, one of the questions that can come up is how many of our members can instantly list the entire title? The Iscarsah is the International Scientific Committee for the Analysis and Restoration of Structures of Architectural Heritage. Typically, you do that and people give you an applause because you managed. If you're working with a lot of universities.
I'm sorry.
So close, so close. But the perceived obstacle may be a regional item. And so I acknowledge that culturally, we may see this not as an issue in some areas. But I know a lot of groups, like if I'm trying to discuss this to emerging professionals in the North American sphere, they get caught up on the title. Because that long name to them.
okay, but first we should check whether this name or any other name illustrates or makes clear the focus of the group. This is a committee about structural aspects of architectural heritage of heritage structures. So if we choose heritage structures or historic structures, the difference between this committee and other ICOMOS committees, meaning the structural aspects of architectural heritage, is lost. So it may be shorter, but it doesn't show what is the purpose, what is the core of the work of this committee, I think. Because heritage structures is too general.
So your concern
it's not clear. I mean, if I read heritage structures, everything in the field.
It can be
of
management,
Yeah.
like the structure.
Yeah, so your concern would be, if I understand correctly, they might see the title Sarah Charter and wonder why it's different than, say, the Venice Charter, since both deal with buildings, if we're only like a heritage structures. That kind of the concern?
We miss the core, which is the structural aspects of heritage.
We need
architectural
the structural
heritage.
analysis and the structural restoration.
So it's,
So this is a difference with another committee that it is thinking only for the facade, for other problems. Here, this is structural restoration, so it is.
May I ask a
different
question,
than-
just for linguists a bit? For in Canadian construction industry, we will differentiate between building and structure. Right, so a heritage building is a holistic grouping, and a heritage structure is the structural, just the structural elements, that wouldn't be the same here. Okay, so this helps me understand why.
in this continent, when you say structure, is
It's more
more general than building.
Tunnels and bridges are also.
A bridge is a structure,
Structure, yeah.
a tower is a structure, but
building
a
is a-
building is,
A building is a
Subcategory.
building,
is what it is.
with the offices and
Yeah.
houses and.
Can I say something?
Okay, I see what you.
To me, the main concern is the fact that we are dropping analysis and restoration.
And restoration.
Because analysis and restoration might be out moded words, words that were used 40 years ago to indicate a very specific approach to the
The
conservation
guidelines.
of, yes.
You had a long
the
discussion
guidelines,
during
the
the
principles
guidelines.
and everything, so I agree that we might need some updating. But to drop them means that the substance of the committee, which assess the structures, analyze them, very importantly, analyze them, and then eventually, if needed, possibly preserve them, intervene, restore. We can use whatever words we like in that response, but that's where the science is. The science is in the analysis and then eventually in the restoration. If we are just talking about heritage structures, it means any type of activity. There is no scientific approach to it. Now, I appreciate that a short name is more snappy, but then I would at least put there word preservation of heritage structures, at least. Preservation, conservation.
Still much general preservation, you can preserve without intervening at
Yes,
all.
exactly.
You
That's
just
what-
preserve.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Then,
But this is also, this intervention is possible solution and a possible problem.
Yes.
What is important is the analysis.
It's interesting to me because you're capturing too now the suggestion for preservation. There's some national groups that are very much against the use of preservation in a conservational context because they feel it doesn't drive on one side.
Well, again, there are
So,
different, there are different.
But it's the challenge of balancing this and why the dialogue's valuable to learn.
There are
Thank you.
different nouns,
I
there are
think-
different understanding of the nouns.
we must, I think, stick on the words and reuse them in another way.
Yeah.
We will not
Discuss.
discuss at the time,
Yes.
either this or it's not approved and the next bureau will
Okay,
decide what to
Okay,
do.
okay, okay.
This is out of the question
Yes.
because there was a process, maybe
Yes,
the
you're-
process is wrong.
You're
We
right.
didn't get negative comments from any of you,
Yes,
which
you're
is a pity, but it is what it is. Don, please.
Just a very simplistic question, is the proposal to change it to heritage structures or the International Scientific Committee on Heritage Structures?
International Scientific Committee
Okay.
on Heritage Structures. We will not drop the International Scientific.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was,
I mean, I don't know, more people would like, I understand we have 4 people against the change of name. As I said, it was unanimous in the bureau. I mean, it was 80% of the people that responded, which for us, if we'd get a different number, we'd never submit. I mean, for me, this should be consensual. In any case, the decision is here. Other names are possible, for sure. I would not put it now, because this will mean go back to step 0. So I don't know, is there any other, even online, any other issue that people were making or wanted to speak?
Yeah, I can pull it back up.
Suggest something, please.
Yeah, can I add a few words?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I was going to say the bigger is the better, but that's of course a joke. I'm thinking the first 3 letters is the extra one as compared to the others, which other scientific
showed you.
committees are
I
not
just
using.
showed you in the webpage. Why do you insist on this?
And just
I
to,
just showed you in the webpage the site of e-commerce. All of them have ISC, I showed you.
Okay.
The ISC was dropped in all, ours is the only one with 2 lines. It's too long for me, I mean, I think it's.
and just to,
This is the bureau opinion, it's not my opinion, I will
But I
never
think
bring it
It will
if
be
it was
okay.
my opinion.
It's long also.
It will be also long if IAC.
well, and I wanted to give a quick opportunity for those online too, so I mentioned they could send in questions, so just to jump on those and keep moving. We also hear the one that's made a suggestion for another name, but as we said, we don't have time to create new names, it's just to decide if we accept this one or not. So thank you for the suggestion, I will add in the official minutes. And the other is just a note from Peter Phillips that the names of ISCs tend to be more to do with the topic area rather than the process, is his comment. So he feels that heritage structures describes the topic area, and that actually is a really interesting conversation too. Unfortunately, we can't cover all of it because of time wise. If we're not comfortable yet, we're not comfortable to make a change yet. If we are comfortable to make a change yet, and we still want to discuss and evolve, that's a discussion that's for you.
For me, we
And
were
we're here to
the process,
facilitate.
the process
Yeah.
was clear. It was unanimous in the bureau, it was 80% of the votes, with a lot of people voting. This assembly has the decision, and the
Yeah.
decision can be no, which is
Yeah.
fine, huh? We don't get mad at the bureau with anyone. Any, a change makes
Okay,
sense if
yeah.
people want to change. That's why I even do not make a proposal, and then I will not even tell you my opinion if Iscarsah should be capitalized or not, because it's not consensual. So if it's not consensual, I mean, I think we should decide. If we decide nothing, it's capitalized, because it's what we have now, and I think there is some people saying it should be capitalized also online. Yes, please. Last statement, please. I'll put it to a vote. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Ellie,
okay.
whatever you say, I'll put it to a vote because this was our process, our decision.
I don't hesitate to say that I voted against the change of name. Not because I am in principle against the changes, but because I received an invitation to vote without any previous discussion on the topic. And I believe that since there are so many members of the committee working for several years on several topics, they have the right to know, to be informed about the discussion. And I don't think it's the only, the privilege of the bureau to make decisions.
Yeah.
So,
That's why the bureau sent one email,
yeah, okay.
explaining the
Yes,
process.
but the email-
One email with the results of the vote, and
Yes.
one email saying what was going to do. Because if the bureau would bring this as hidden, I would not be happy with the bureau. I think the process was extremely informative and clear to all Iscarsah members. If people do not read the emails or do not answer, we had 87 votes. This means we have 90 people worried out the 200.
Yes, but without any previous discussion on the topic.
Yeah,
But anyway.
And this fits into something I'm going to accept from my peer review for communication. We've been looking at how, like in the last 6 years, the committee's grown by 100 members. And we're having to look at like, how do we make sure we're involved in the conversation? If we go back far enough, we could get more people together. There were more communications happening back and forth. And we're at a different scale, so we aim to communicate that, saying, okay, here's the message, who wants to be involved? Looks like we didn't quite communicate it, like you did not realize that was how we're trying to engage out, so that is something I'll learn from it. But I think now we're at this situation and the president would like to call a vote, so.
In my opinion, we should discuss further on the topic.
Okay.
And I would suggest we postpone
The decision.
the decision.
This wasn't yet on the agenda.
Okay.
I have no problem of putting that to a vote.
Mhm.
Okay, so who votes to
First discuss
to
and.
have this ratification? Who votes in favor of having this ratification proposed? Raise their hand, please. then
And the other proposal would be to postpone the discussion.
If the
That
vote
would
is
be-
negative, I don't put it to discussion. My proposal, who's vote in favor?
It is,
Who vote against? Please do not
No, we
abstain.
don't vote again. There is I think some colleagues here, me involved, that would like to postpone the decision. It's very
If I'm
serious.
putting this
subject.
to a vote, what else can I do, Nick? I'm putting that to a vote. Can we proceed?
Yes.
Because you don't like to proceed, you like
No,
to stop.
like
That's
to
not
proceed.
nice.
there's always the option that
Please.
someone else can raise the issue for a future AGM. For an AGM, we must conclude our business, so we can't table an item for a future meeting, really. So it's being brought to vote, it can be brought again in the future, you are our membership. We've got the two sides, do you support changing the name to Heritage Structures? Or do you wish to keep our current name, the International Scientific Committee for the Analysis, Restoration of Historic, Architectural Heritage? That is our vote. I'd be curious to know roughly numbers, if I need to count number by number. Let me just continue with it. Do you want to, I don't know if there's an official calling of the vote. So just an idea, well, no, we'll just do it properly, okay.
No, I mean, I think we can vote.
Yeah.
But we can vote first, putting it to a vote or not. I have no
Yeah.
problem with this.
Okay,
So the
so,
proposal is, would you like to put this change of name into a vote or not? Okay, so who is in favor? We'll count both votes. Who is in favor of
Yeah.
changing the name of submitting the ratification of the name change? It doesn't mean you'll vote
Yeah.
positively, yeah? You may vote negatively, yeah? Who is in favor of making this proposal to a vote? If you are in favor, raise your hand.
if you're in favor of having a vote about this,
The question,
May I ask?
oh,
so the question is if the change of name is only for the e-commerce? Or
No,
for us,
no,
because
no,
we
for
we
everything.
still have the logo of Iscarsah, yeah.
I know.
No, everything will change.
But
The logo will not change.
Also logo will be changed.
so
Also
the
acronym will be
intent
changed.
I
is
will
to
repeat.
retain,
The intent is to keep the logo and the acronym as a memory to
so
our.
Iscarsah.
So maybe the solution is to keep the shorter name Heritage Structures for committee of e-commerce and to leave it in e-commerce, but.
And we proceed with the vote and then we make a decision. The decision is, do we put the vote to ratification of the changed name or not? Who
So,
votes in favor of putting the change of name as a vote to ratification? Raise your hand, please. Please vote also online.
$42. Oh, I got the online one, 43. $53.
Okay, so who is in favor or not putting this to a vote? Not putting it to a vote.
Forty and 21. 21.
I think
53
you
to
have more
21.
yes, huh?
Yeah.
Rather than that.
Yeah, I added those, oh, there are more. since-
So I mean, there is a strong vote in favor of putting it to a vote. We'll put it to a vote. Again, you don't need to vote positively, even if you put it to, because you think it was in agenda, it should be voted positively. If you think you want to vote negatively, The Bureau has no objection to that. And in the end, we'll leave the door all as friends as we enter in. This I'm 99.99% sure. Okay? So who would like to rectify the change name for heritage structures? Please raise your hand.
Without any structural restoration.
Please, no attempts to convince other people or far away.
Why not?
So management is also included.
Three in person and officially the name change.
There's a lot of yes. You'll count them.
Yeah.
Okay, who would be voting in between Tom counts, who would be voting against the new name of heritage structure? I cannot vote myself, I can only vote once.
You have to vote.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
And there's a huge majority in favor of changing the name. So I'm sorry. Again, this is not personal. I think
3 to 2.
in the name of the Bureau, this was consensual. Nobody voted against. Okay. And if some of you are curious, I was not the person starting the discussion on the name change. I will not tell you who was the person, but I was. But I agree. There's also one no now. So the second point in the agenda is, again, we will keep the acronym. If you'd like to have capitalized or non-capitalized name. And if you want to intervene on this, if you think it should be capitalized or not, please do. I will not tell you in what I will vote, and I will abstain in this vote. I ask you please not to abstain, but as president, I hope you accept that I do not vote. I don't want to leave anything.
Excuse me, Paolo, I have a question. Who is voting? All associated members, everybody vote.
I think so.
But. Okay, this is.
Please do not try to,
But who is
do not
voting?
try now to complicate things for.
No, it is a real thing. Because this is a committee of the history. And everybody, I mean, there are associated members, expert
I
members.
think the decision was made, Nikki.
Yes,
I am sorry. In my view, the decision was made.
it's made, but.
Uh, Anybody would like to make a statement on Iscarsah capitalized versus Iscarsah as a word, or you feel comfortable with both? No? So we'll put it to a vote. Who votes in favor of Iscarsah full capitals?
Who would vote for fully capitalized, the title fully capitalized Iscarsah, or continue to use Iscarsah?
Sorry?
It's okay, right?
I mean, I think we should be consistent in our webpage, in what we write in the emails. It should be either capitalized or non-capitalized.
Yeah, well, one
We
of
should
the,
make a decision what we want to have.
one of the
Some
notes.
logos are capitalized and some words used as acronyms, people use it capitalized, some non-capitalized, and some letters capitalized and some not. We should have a decision.
Okay, so I will now count for those that would like it to see the word fully capitalized. Who's in that? 1, 2. Oh, you can't change. Yeah. 9. Okay. Yeah, I think. Okay. And then we got the other one.
But you need to count the ones online, huh?
Oh, yeah, who's fully capitalized?
I will count the other ones while we do. Which one of you would like to have it non-capitalized, only the I capitalized? You vote 33.
And then we've got another line, we had 1, 2, 3.
I mean, it will be non-capitalized, okay? So we'll use it in the website and we'll use it in the communication.
Being compatible with the name.
We like incompatible things. Only materials are compatible. Okay. I would invite Nikki now to come. Another Nick.
Oh, yeah.
You have to run this. Nikki and Evan, so they have been two amazing younger members leading this committee. That's what. Either the mouse or the.
So, good afternoon, everybody. Me and Evan will present the activities of our team working group. Together with myself, we worked together with team leaders, Stephen Kelly, and the two of us. So if you are around during these days, you can reach to myself to Evan, because we will spend the 3 days conference that started here in Lausanne, and we will be happy to discuss about our activity and the future tasks. You may have seen the latest webinars that we took during the last 2 years. They were very interesting and well received by the audience, especially the one about the 2023 Turkey Syria earthquake and the one on the fire protection of heritage structures. The latest one as well, we were mentioning them before. They were about the structural interventions in heritage through the lens of Iscarsah principles, not capitalized. And the most recent one, the heritage in time of armed conflict. That was a very challenging topic, especially nowadays. And it was followed by a Q&A discussion that you can see again in the recording on YouTube channel. I leave to Evan about the future activities.
So after we've had that series of successful webinars and a few diving a little bit more into technical or specific applications of Iscarsah principles, we wanted to step back, and especially with the new membership, welcome to all the new members this year, have a little bit more insight into what is it that we actually do as a committee. And I think with the great leadership of the Bureau, this round, introducing the working groups, allowing us to dive in and work together to present those different factors. I think that is a good thing to bring up to the forefront and share not only with our new membership, but to share wider to increase the membership. So our next topic in the first week of December, the date is still TBD, but we're looking at an insight into Iscarsah. We'll update the title. And current initiatives. So that will be similar to some of this talks we'll see later today on what each working group is individually doing and their accomplishments, so that we can share that with a wider discussion group. And beyond that, we want to, of course, continue the technical webinars. So there is some ideas that have been brought through the listserv. Right now, the ones that are bubbling up towards the top are discussing metals embedded in masonry and corrosion risks inherently associated, and also structural repairs to wood, which could be another joint membership, a joint webinar like the recent one with APT that had a lot of viewership. But we think that kind of joint committee webinar could be another successful webinar. So those are the ideas that we're looking right now. But as Paolo said earlier, we're open to ideas from any of our members. So if you'd like to reach out to any of the folks here on the group, Nicoletta or myself, we're open to ideas and we can discuss that because we want to have that pipeline of webinars continuing.
Yeah, this slide just records some numbers about our webinars. On average, we do have 150 participants per section and 15 speakers invited per year. We want to make not only academics but professionals involved in our webinars. So it is very important to have a diverse pool of speakers during the sections, and to reach, it's very important also that we also have discussions and roundtables at the end of the webinars, and sometimes those topics continues through via emails between speakers and the audience. You can find all the recordings on our YouTube channels, and they will be also advertised on our LinkedIn pages. As Ivan was saying, if you want to propose a topic for the next webinars, it's very important for us to have an agenda for the future. And so don't be shy. We are collecting ideas for the
Iscarsah capitalized.
Change.
The slides were put together before the vote, so I should have said that in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. We now like to thank them for the great help they gave.
And it is becoming unique again that we give high quality webinars at no cost and continue to make them available. And it is very impressive that they're so happy.
There's a message from Brian Green to you. I'll forward it. He's proposing a webinar.
Yep. So Melvin could not be here with us today. She gets full credit for her work on the bulletins. We're getting out bulletins every or twice a year at the moment. As an example behind me. The idea is to kind of create a dialogue, create a discussion. So that thought is that they're very short little ideas, thoughts, contributions, as you will. I think a number of my kids would cringe if I told them that a short paper is 1 to 2 pages, but that's the age they're at. So what you see that you can contribute, maybe it's some great figures and you're saying, here's something really neat that's worth talking about. We're creating the dialogue there. That's the aim, and they continue to happen strong. Please reach out to us and Melton if you have anything you'd like to contribute for that. I don't think there are any questions on that. Brings us to national committees. And I have a challenge here.
If you change the speaker, it should work.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if I change the speaker, if I lose the microphone.
No, not the speaker. If you change the loudspeaker in the software, it should work to the hour. I think you need to change it somewhere. The problem is not you sending it to the computer.
So we have, but I don't think it's coming through again. Yeah, we have had prior issues with people trying to meet and losing internet connection, so we asked for videos and the audio is not carrying through properly.
Trying to
Which is a whole new. If not, I'll just try to.
No, it's a video. It's a video.
Oh, it's.
Maximum.
See the maximum.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Just, if you raise your hand, if you can't hear.
It's probably recorded as well, so nothing we can.
Okay, so I will end the video. Once I can find the video. Okay, so. Murat was presenting on the Iscarsah, Turkey. Where he is current president, and as you can see, they've had a number of their own national bureaus. We asked some of the national committees that we are working with if they would like to contribute to the AGM to talk about what they're doing and give a bit of a platform. And both Turkey and India said, yeah, we'd love to. So we're touching on two of them. It has been a very active national committee. There is their board members. They have done a number of activities looking at sessions on the lost city of Antioch in Istanbul, looking at the different earthquake issues that have arisen. This is just their lesson sessions. They've had some really cool in-person activities, and this is one of the great things about a national committee is that they are closer geographically, so you can actually meet. The exception being, Canada. But otherwise, it's pretty wonderful to be able to meet regularly with colleagues, practicing at a high level and discuss different projects. And this shows some of the different activities they've been working on. And as you can see, I've got lots of practice showing these slides. They have 6 new members they've added. They've got a few, they are contributing to 2 of our international working groups in their involvement. They have their online seminar program and local guidelines they continue to work through. And they've developed a really strong community there. And I am apologetic, I can't give it all due time past that because I did not memorize his video. Sorry, but that is a little idea of what, I don't know if any of our members from Turkey wish to speak to anything on. No, we have a few members from Turkey here, so please approach them if you're looking for contact.
We have 2, I think, here.
Those of our members from Turkey, raise your hands just so that anyone else that's looking for you know where to find you. Okay, yeah, reach out, see what they're doing if you're curious. It's a great example. And this was going to be presented by, there we go, there's the man himself. There's Arun. I will hand over, I guess, the whole setup. I should probably give people notice before I randomly call for them, so I apologize. Instead, I'll awkwardly fill time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very good afternoon. Arun Menon here from IIT Madras, India. And ICOMOS India has had an active set of 21 national scientific committees. Out of 21, again, about 16 to 17 are very active. The others are a little dormant, but that's as good as we can get, I guess. So we don't have the structure in terms of president and vice president and secretary. We just have a coordinator and a co-coordinator. And we try to ensure that the co-coordinator is a young professional. So that's how the structure is for all the 21 scientific committees in ICOMOS India. And then there are working groups as well. So please. What we did in the previous triennial, 20 to 23, was we had an exercise where each of the national scientific committees were asked to look at the founding principles of the International Scientific Committee and understand the reason for the existence of the International Scientific Committee, and then examine how it relates to the India-specific problems and look at what sort of activities would then address the gap that exists on the topic, but in relation to what the International Scientific Committee is doing. So this was a 3-year activity, getting all the 21 national scientific committees, write up a white paper and compilation was made of all the NSCs coming up with a white paper on their own committee. So this is something that was done, like a strategic vision, but within the National Scientific Committee itself. Next slide, please. So I've just reported 20 to 23, 23 to 26. We had a very active pandemic period, and that really reflects there. 2021, there are a lot of online activities, and the numbers there are reflective of people signing up and having to, you didn't have to travel, you could actually do everything, almost everything online. So 50 in the previous triennial, coming down to about 18 members. I think that's a number that's stabilizing. 18 to 25 is what really works. And so that's the group, the current group, 18 people. We look at what's the zone-wise distribution in India and also the type of membership. So the number of people who are actually on Iscarsah in the NSC Iscarsah is very small. And so we need to have these dialogues open to have the ISC and the NSC align itself well. Next slide, please. So that's the strategic plan. And this took a lot of time to actually create 20 to 23, with a lot of dialogue within each NSC and ICOMOS India itself. So this was an interesting strategic plan document for 23. We've not got to come up with something as comprehensive for the next triennial. Next slide, please. So what we also did is, within the NSC, we've been working with research projects and research grants were given out, small research grants were given out. And some of these are very interesting projects which brought people together, multiple NSCs together, and some interesting outcomes and deliverables have been there from these small research projects. They are funded to a very small extent by ICOMOS India. Next slide, please. So, among other activities, yes, ICOMOS India conducts scientific symposia every year. And to get the scientific symposia come out as a publication takes forever, because again, it's a lot of volunteer time. And so in 2020, we had a scientific symposium on aspects related to Iscarsah and NSC Iscarsah. And this year, we have been successful in completing the written proceedings of this document, of this conference, I would say. Next slide, please. And currently, we're working on proposing seminars for this year. Few of them have been done and few are being proposed. I would just close by stating that India has a lot of institutional members, almost 10 institutional members. So institutes sign up as ICOMOS members. Now, what then happens is, for many of the scientific committee activities, the students who are taking up programs in these institutions can participate. So when Professor Lorenzo had this interaction with us, NSC Iscarsah in India, we had students pursuing MArch in conservation of a university, which is an institutional member, also participate and listen to the Iscarsah, new Iscarsah principles. So the institutional membership is an interesting way of getting potential future members into ICOMOS and into specific scientific committees. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as I said before, I mean, you'll get copies of this presentation and the video will be uploaded in YouTube. In any case, if you think there are conditions nationally to replicate this, I would say very interesting examples of bringing our discussions and this methodology and all the work developed in the last 30 years to a wider community. A national scientific committee can be very profitable. So we now move to the working groups. I think, Filippo is the first one.
Hi, everybody. So I move with this one. This one. So I'm Filippo Casarin from the University of Padova. University, and I'm coordinating the group dealing with mesory mechanical characteristics. So the motivation of this work.
You want to project your voice a little more.
Sorry.
It's a big room, you have to project your voice.
Yeah, okay, so and the motivation of this group was the one of noticing that the majority of countries has mesory codes fitted for new buildings. And when you're trying to make a calculation for old buildings and you want to comply with the law, there's a gap. And sometimes, the majority of times, you have to go with reinforcing elements which are not compatible, not in line with the Iscarsah principles. So that was the starting point. And from the discussion, and from this discussion, it emerged let's say, this common view from several people, which led to a vast group of people working in this working group. Nowadays, we are 46 people involved, so it's a big number. Some of them are more active than others. But in any case, one good thing is the fact that let's say, more or less the whole globe is covered. So several countries are represented. And in terms of activity, we are at the end of the second year. The first year, we had more meetings, online meetings. And so there was an initial discussion also focusing on the relevant topics. During that year, last year, there was a shift in the direction of the discussion. And I think that the current situation is the fact of having an advanced state of the art, since many countries has its own codes or are investigating and researching consistently in this field, because they also feel the need of having consistent numbers for making calculations. So this year, and especially last year, we had a very important meeting, very relevant for this working group in Padova, physical meeting. So 6 people came in person, 6 groups came in person, and it was hybrid. And then last June, there was another meeting focusing on the consolidation, on the starting version of the document, of the deliverable for the working package number 1. Basically, during this hybrid workshop, each member of the work group presented the outcomes of the activity, and not just the activity, the research activity, but also the state of the advancement of the national codes. The idea was wider at the beginning, but now it's to produce a deliverable one, specifically devoted to a critical review of available codes and procedures for the classification and mechanical characterization of existing mesory types, and then a deliverable too, which is quite important also. So it's let's say a discussion, critical discussion on the available methods for the qualification of mesory from an experimental point of view. So both in laboratory and in the site. So these are the countries represented in the meeting in Padova, and quite relevant topics emerge, especially some countries. We noticed that some countries are, let's say, more advanced in the field, especially of codification. For example, Greece presented a very relevant code, which is named Cadet. It's quite new or quite recent as a document, presenting some semi-empirical formula for the definition of the resistance of wall, which is very fitted also for the multi-layered typology of mesory that they have in Greece. And also there was let's say, a comparison between this method and the mesory quality index, which is the kind of red line touching the different working groups. Then several other countries were presenting their own work, like Croatia after the earthquake 2020. Mislav is here, so they did a consistent work in testing mesory structure, and they also are gathering a lot of information, a lot of mechanical parameters. Salvas here was presenting the standard SIL 216, if I remember well. 269, sorry for the number. And dealing with the existing measure, the different typologies, also there also here there's a categorization depending on the typology of measure, the qualifying parameters, and also the consistent research activities that they're doing here at in Lausanne. Again, Luca in Spain shown how they're dealing with the characterization, especially of brickwork masonry, trying to defining important parameters from the testing of core samples, not only core samples, but also specimen of bricks and mortar, and trying to disturb as minimum as possible measuring in order to derive these parameters. In Italy, we're dealing with a doctoral thesis in Padova, trying to take some information and categorize this information between the flat jack test, vast amount of testing. We have almost 1,000 tests carried out in different sites with a measure equality index, which is one point doing this kind of discussion is also how do we compare tests carried out in laboratory, flat jack test, crashing of samples or cores. So one big issue is also the information of the experimental activities. Again, Julian, who is here, shown the work they're doing in Sri Lanka for the qualification of stone masonry. Also there by using visual inspection, automated inspection, and also NDT and NDT methods like the rebound hammer or the ultrasonic. Murat is not here and shown the initial activities. Testing, on-site testing is not so common in Turkey up to date, but they're improving, they're doing testing. He presented the national standard, which is fitted for new buildings, but also the guidelines, which is referred to the historical building. Portugal, represented here by several people, also is, let's say, in advanced state for the definition of the national annex to the Eurocode 8 for the definition of the mechanical parameters of masonry. So a lot of testing is being done and it's being categorized. Finally, Arun shown the vast amount of masonry which is in India, which is not a state, it's a continent, so there's a huge amount of typologies, and the majority or quite a lot is made of a multi-layered way. So also that is let's say, is a complex task to identify the let's say, mechanical characteristics of the infill. And also shown the fact that there are national standard, which is fitted for new buildings, and at this stage also here there in India is needed some more work from an experimental point of view towards this direction. And the final presentation was done by Jakob Schäfer for the work done in the last 15-20 years for the mechanical characterization in Israel for flat jack test, deriving some common features per typology of building, public, residential, and so also some curves were defined. Basically, the work was also presented in the bulletin in the March 2025. So a short note was in that bulletin. And finally, the document is in its early stage. In any case, the most important part will be let's say, the state of the art. So showing this whole contribution from several countries. We're not have the intention to show which is the right way, because there's no right way, but there are several approaches, and we will try to focus on the common parameters that every country thinks to be important for defining the mechanical characteristics, for deriving some kind of suggestions or suggested actions for a proper qualification of measurement. So more or less we're here. All of these people committed, or the majority, to propose what they shown in Padova as a chapter, as a let's say, chapter of this document. And so I think that by the end of the year, we will have receiving this contribution, the possibility of having an initial stage, an advanced stage of this document. And then we will take next year, as you were commenting before. So it's quite a hard work group, not so easy. So we need one more year, especially also for introducing testing and how to deal with testing and how to try to compare the different tests that are carried out in Mesori. That will not be the main focus of the working group, but at least some suggestions on this topic will be given. That's the idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Iago?
Iago.
Oh, yeah. So the work group on climate adaptation will show also the update. So while Tiago is coming, please don't forget this, meaning this is a scientific committee. It is supposed to lead science, to contribute to science. And in our understanding, the best place to do it with such a large committee as at the work group level. If you have great ideas for a work group, please let the Bureau know.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really pleased to present the work that has been done by this group. I'm here today presenting on behalf of our team, but mostly on behalf of Becca, who could not unfortunately make it today here. But I would also like to take the opportunity just to thank Becca for the way how she has been leading this group so brilliantly. So yeah, my name is Tiago Ferreira. I'm from Técnico at the University of Lisbon in Portugal. And what was this initiative? So as Paulo said, this is a working group about climate change and climate adaptation. So this slide was taken from the last AGM 2024. So the idea was to explore the interaction between climate change. Sorry about that. He's going. Okay, climate change and dynamism and restoration of architectural heritage. So this was the proposed timeline. It was a bit ambitious, I would say. The idea was by the end of that year, 2024, to submit a white paper for the journal. So this is the team. We are 15 people coming across the world, basically from New Zealand to US with a lot of people from Europe. So a few pictures from some of us. And what was the timeline? No worries. And where we are now. So basically, we made it. At least we were able to submit our paper, our white paper, this January 2025. So we got a very constructive review. And now we are working on the revisions. So the paper was submitted to the International Journal of Architectural Heritage, and we are just finalizing the revision. So what is the core challenge that we try to address? So as we all know, climate change is probably the most significant challenge facing the preservation of our shared cultural heritage. So this was our scope. And we also know the dilemma. How do we adapt heritage structures to be safe and resilient while preserving their authenticity and historical integrity and ensuring the solution is sustainable and there's a low environmental impact? And so what are we fighting against? So basically flooding, droughts, tornadoes, hurricanes, wildfire, landscape. So what we tried to do as a group was actually to address these hazards and try, somehow to find a balanced solution, a balanced proposal to tackle these issues. So how can we respond? So we think that these interventions range from minimal to high invasive, as we know. So each with significant trade-offs. And that what we tried to do was actually to analyze these trade-offs. So the spectrum of actions that we consider, there's 4 here. So one is, of course, abstention, not act deliberately, focusing on monitoring, for example, circumvention, which is modifying the surrounding sites, direct interventions, modify the building itself, or relocation. So in very extreme cases where we propose to physically moving the structure to a safer location, and all these were not, of course, our ideas. These were cases that we found across the world that we thought could be, maybe good alternatives in very specific cases. So this is a very complex issue, of course. To address these issues, we need to have a structured, transparent, and holistic way to evaluate our options, and this is what we try to do. And our solution is basically a decision support framework based on multi-criteria decision analysis. So what is the main or the primary aim of this is basically to guide stakeholders through a structured dialogue, making trade-offs explicit and decisions defensible. Okay, this was what we tried to propose in our paper and in our framework. So our framework tried to address every potential interventions against these 5 core categories. So I'm not going into detail into these 5, but basically conservation, resilience, sustainability, feasibility, and sociocultural impact. So these are the 5 vectors that we are looking at in our framework. And then for each category, what we aim is basically to make people consider these aspects through several questions. So for example, for conservation, how does a specific intervention affect the digital fabric and design of the structure? Regarding resilience, for example, how effectively does it address a specific climate threats, and can it be adjusted for future scenarios? For sustainability, water emissions, the carbon footprint associated with the materials and implementation, and of course, trying not only to look at the solution, but the way how the solution then will impact in terms of footprint and feasibility, of course. So what are the financial implications of this specific solution? And is the required expertise available for that specific intervention? And last but not least, the social cultural impact of the intervention. So how will the intervention be perceived by local stakeholders and by the local communities? So these are just some examples of what we are looking at, and we are hoping with this framework to make people make these questions when deciding about a specific intervention. Okay, so what are the values of the site? Are they being preserved or not? So what are the amount of resources that we need in terms of energy, in terms of materials, in terms of feasibility? So meet the heritage conservation and building regulations or not? And of course, again, very important, the social cultural impact of these interventions. And because the idea is to deliver something that can be used to support decision making. So in our paper, we proposed a table similar to this one, where we have each one of these 5 categories, and the idea is basically to assign a score for each one of these categories and subcategories, and also have a place where to consider, to write down an explanation for this specific intervention, and also to provide some resources in terms of literature and examples of good practice. So as I said, the idea of this framework is to be a tool to facilitate expert discussion and not to be a rigid calculator. Okay, so in terms of process, this is what we are proposing. So an interdisciplinary team, and this is really important, propose potential intervention strategies, and then a group of experts scores each strategy against our criteria using a simple scale. So in the paper, we propose something ranging from -5 to 5, but this can be pretty much flexible and whatever these experts feel right. And then a facilitator leads a structured dialogue to discuss scores and reasoning for this intervention. And the goal is, of course, to build consensus by transparently analyzing these trade-offs. Okay, so it's all about considering these trade-offs and trying to foresee how specific intervention will impact not only the present of the structure, but also the future of the structure and of its community. So just two examples that we addressed in the white paper. One example is a case of flood management. So let's say an hypothetical storage structure faces increasing flood risk. So one option could be to adopt a circumvention based strategy, so protect the place. The action would be, for example, to build flood barriers or use natural-based solutions. So all these solutions, of course, have pros and cons. So the pros of these would be the preservation of the historical context, can be highly sustainable as well if we go into nature-based solutions. The cons may be maybe not enough, not sufficient for extreme floods. And of course, we are also taking into account what we expect in terms of the impact of climate change. So this maybe cannot be enough and is something that we should consider. Or why not? Maybe another option could be the relocation of the asset. So move the entire structure to higher ground. There are some examples of these in China, for example, and this could be potentially an option. So the pros of these would be the guarantee of the safety from flood. Of course, they are relocating. The cons are very obvious. So extreme costs, irreversible loss of authenticity, and the loss of context, and a lot of you know, the possibility of the community to keep this heritage. And again, these are all just options that in our framework we can assess in a non-listed way. Or a second case for fire management. So let's say that we have an heritage building at risk from wildfires. And again, the same idea, we can have two options. One is mitigation with internal suppression, for example, and the action could be the installation of modern sprinkler systems with the pros of being potentially effective for stopping the internal fire, but is invasive. And of course, we need to take it into account when we are considering a solution like this one, or again, circumvention and look at the landscape and manage this landscape in order to mitigate these hazards. Okay, so these would be a non-invasive solution to the building. So from that point of view, it would be very good, but is potentially, you know, less effective against internal fires and requires, of course, maintenance, which also have you know, a cost from environmental point of view. So in terms of conclusions and key takeaways, so probably the most important one is the one at the top. So there is no one size fits all solution for climate adaptation. So every site is unique, and that what we are trying to do is provide stakeholders, decision makers with an approach that they can use to assess the impact of their interventions. So this is, in our view, transparent, holistic, and a way of making our decisions defensible. And as I said in the presentation, so the process must, of course, involve interdisciplinary collaboration and stakeholders dialogue, and we hope with our proposal we can help on that as well. And the ultimate goal is, of course, to find a responsible balance between preservation of the past and protecting so the future. This is what we all as a group. And just to give you a taste about the future, the path for this working group. Basically, we believe that the future, and this is what we advocate, so is based on this adaptability, develop flexible and versatile interventions, collaboration, innovation, policy, and engagement. And because we believe on this, we are going to working on a webinar to be announced very soon. To open the discussion of our work to the broader community and to the broader Iscarsah group. And that's all from me. Thank you again for having me. It was a bit fast, I know, but if you have any question, if you need more details, I will be around and more than happy to discuss. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, we're doing our best to keep the time.
And
I advise to leave the meeting because he's handling the ICOMOS Annual General Assembly, hopefully in a month. And so we move to Mustafa.
So there is no.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be right here. And just as a question while Mustafa's getting up, has everyone signed the attendance sheet? Did I miss any rows? We got this rows last. Perfect, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon to everybody. I'm Mustafa Fumo, for those whom I've never met before. I'm coming from Moscow, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Today's presentation is about the activities of the work group that is dealing with the building codes and this type of. Yeah, it is. Can I? No, we have to. This group is dealing with the building codes and Iscarsah principles, trying towards the harmonization of the safety issues. Here you see the 4 phases, more about them in the next slides, but now I would just like to say that we arrived at phase 4, which should be the final. I still can't say how long it will last, but the work group is has around 40 members, and most of the members have been active in one way or another since the initiative in Kyoto 2 years ago. We started working in December the same year, 23, and till now we, as presented before, we reached the 4th phase of our work. In the first phase, we actually prepared the questions for an online survey, which was performed in the second phase, and we posed some questions trying to get the answers on the approaches for seismic assessment of historic structures, authorities, codes and recommendations and guidelines. Then we asked about what the experts think about the need for harmonization of building codes and Iscarsah principles concerning the safety level of historic structures. And also one part of the question was related to other loads, safety regarding the other loads on historic structures. In phase 3, which was based on the outcome of the online survey, we detected a set of regulatory documents which were dealing with in general existing structures, but some of them partly or completely dedicated to historic structures. And the aim of this phase was to obtain the reports on these regulatory documents, detailed reports. There were more than 70 questions actually posed in this report template. And then let's say first that the report had some general information about it. Who is doing the report, when the document was issued, and what's the type, and similar general information. Then we had a set of questions related to the scope of document. Then the type of document, which is either existing or historic or both. Then what's the ethos behind this the basis of this document? The main set of questions was about the relaxation, or meaning relaxation compared for historic structures, assessing the historic structures and retrofitting them compared to the requirements from the new codes, by the new codes. There was a set of questions on quality control, safety and reporting, as well as the emergency stabilization. Well, something more about this phase 3. We planned 25 reports and 20 submitted. Actually, just recently we have another one. And the reports are referring to the regulatory documents from 9 individual countries listed here. One report refers to the EU document, which is also applicable in our country. And 3 reports refer to the international documents such as Iscarsah principles and guidelines and ISO document. Well, almost half of the members of the work group participate. We narrowed it to the subgroup actually because everybody was analyzing the document from its own country or basically, and so there were 18 Iscarsah members and 5 non-Iscarsah members that were supporting the members to finalize the reports. And so the report comprised actually 75 answers. Some are kind of yes or no type, not exactly yes or no. Some of them exactly so, but some of them like, is it regular, is it recommended, or it's mandatory, non-mandatory. So this is what is called here yes or no type. And some answers are descriptive, which everything really required a significant effort when you enter the document and try to analyze certain aspects out of them. And it was an effort, notable effort to elaborate. The documents are treating existing structures in general. You can see the number of documents, historic and or both. All options are considered in 8 documents and only seismic in 12 documents. Some documents are mandatory, and out of them, the 13 are standards or rules, and
7 are guidelines. Relocation, which was researched here was comparing to the requirements for new buildings is sought with respect to the following. Relaxation regarding the either on demand side or capacity side, then regarding the performance of objectives, and also the partial strengthening, which is present in some of the regulatory documents. So now we enter the phase 4, where we need actually a thorough analysis of these documents, comparing them all together and trying to reach conclusions and recommendations. So actually, we firstly need to analyze and cross-analyze each group of answers. Then we should make an initial proposal for recommendations or conclusions to discuss it within the work group. And then after discussing it in the work group, we should update accordingly with the proposal and adopt it within the work group. And after that, we should ask the Iscarsah community, the whole community, for the comments and update them according to those comments. Still a lot to be done. We need now a rather narrow work group, subgroup, let's say, because there is a lot of work in analyzing all these documents, and we need to interchange information. And so at present, we have an initial overview of all the documents which is sent to the work group members, which is actually one Excel file with this all documents and all answers. And there's another Word file which has some comments, initial comments. And actually this. I would like to organize in the next period an online meeting in the work group to try to see, maybe to explain a bit about this within the work group, and try to find actually who is interested in working further on in this thorough analysis. So at the moment, there are, including myself, there are four people at the moment as a first response, let's say, to this question sent by the workshop. I thank you for your attention with a picture of one clock tower, which resembles to a piece of tower, and it's actually in the place, northern part of the country, where I had some work to do for about 2 years, occasionally. It's kind of a leaning tower. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.
We skip it. Okay, I mean, just before we are closing to the end, more or less on time, so I thank all presenters for being amazing and keeping their time. I mean, mostly for the younger members, which we have a lot, we could divide this meeting in more or less 2 parts before we go to the recognition, no? One is more administrative, which may be boring, may be slightly conflicting sometimes. No? In any case, it is important, because if you're not efficient, we don't operate well, we don't exist. Okay, and so it is important. The second part it's very important because this is, I think, the key function of this committee since it was started was to disseminate knowledge, to inspire people working across the world, to define methodology. And I think it was extremely successful. So this committee was formed 30 years ago. There is more to do. And so what we see is science and these people working together towards an objective. So we hope you appreciate also the working groups. We don't think this is the forum for discussion, because if we discuss any of this topic, it's 2 hours or more. And so the forum is to present. If you're interested, you know where to join. Okay. That said, we're going to move for the 2 awards that is the Bureau decided to give. The first one will be given by my colleague, Tom. And so we call in, please.
Hi, I'm Tom. No, me. I am very excited to present the New Day for Conservation Award. We had a lot of discussion about the different categories for awards, and we want to highlight people that are in the earlier launching phases of their career as opposed to the other ones. And so I'm very excited to be presenting to Nicoletta. There we go. Everyone. Like many of the unsung heroes that we do have across our committee, Nikki's been very involved with the webinars, and I don't think I've ever talked to her much or stood this close beside her, so she doesn't know me at all. But yeah, it's been a big nice to meet you. I'm Tom. So I'm horrible with final words, but I think that covers it. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
Everyone else should say thank you too, because you deserve it.
Okay, so the next award will be presented by me, and it's given to a very close friend, which had a major achievement in the last period, which is the version 2 of the guidelines. Bear led this 10 years work for a very, very long time with a lot of persistence, taking all of our different opinions in a beautiful and calm way as the only person that can do. And so, Bere, thanks so much.
Say something. I need that. I'm very happy to receive the award. Thank you so much. But I think that I have to share it with everybody, because everybody was involved in working in the guidelines, especially to cooperate in the subcommittee. We work all very hard. And so I think that this is clearly a shared award. In any case, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, on our side, we have no new business. I don't know if anyone has new business. If they don't have any new business, we adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much for joining in. I would leave you that we were 70 people in the room, 30 people online. So I told you we were 100 active members. It's like they were all here. So it's really impressive. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Write 5 letters.
Okay.
How about the first?
It remains big.